AI, the show for leaders who want real results, not more noise. Join Emmanuel Rose as he helps business builders turn AI from a confusing add-on into a practical advantage with clearer messaging, stronger trust, and smarter systems. If you felt a shift happening in real time, you're not imagining it. In the agentic pivot, Emmanuel calls it the move from experimenting with AI to building with it, so it supports your team, your brand, and your growth. Let's get into it.
"85% of workers now save between 1 and 7 hours a week using AI. But here's the part that should sting. Nearly 40% of that time leaks right back out. Rework, corrections, fixing the confident, polished, slightly wrong thing the machine handed back. And 75% of the economic gains from AI go to about 20% of the companies. So the question is not whether you have AI, you do, your competitor does. We're all running the same models. The question is, what have you built around it? Today, I'll walk you through the single setup that separates 20% who keep the hours from the 80% who lose them again. It takes 20 minutes, and we're going to review Claude Project. Human in the loop. Wow. What a feeling it is to open a blank chat and then retype the same content in that I had retyped in yesterday and the day before and the day before. And that wasted time of re-explaining to a machine over and over in order to get something that was usable is a terrible, terrible feeling. And that's why I researched into how to avoid such time wasting and have the machine do what the machine should do. Welcome back to Marketing in the Age of AI. I'm Emmanuel Rose. This one is for the marketer, the agency owner, or the in-house marketing lead who's already using AI every day, but still opens a blank chat every morning and starts from zero. Here's what we're going to cover: what a Claude project actually is and why it changes your output, not just your organization. The platforms doing this work right now and how they stack up, and the numbers that prove the tool isn't the thing that wins, and a step-by-step playbook to build your first real project by the end of the week. Let's get into it. What is how to set up a Claude projects and why now? Start with a problem you no longer notice. Every time you open a fresh AI chat, you're starting cold. You re-explain your business, your client, your tone, the format you want, what words not to use, eliminating the M dashes. Ooh, bad old M dashes. Then you get a draft that's 70% there, and then you go back in and fix the rest. And you do that 20 times a week. A Claude project will kill that loop. A project is a self-contained workspace inside Claude, and it has 3 parts. First, custom instructions, a written brief that tells Claude who to be, who it's talking to, what tone to use, and what not to do. You write that once, and it applies to every chat within that project. Second is the project knowledge. Files you upload, your brand voice guide, your templates, 2 or 3 examples of work you're proud of, other reference materials from philosophical minds that you appreciate, and Claude reads them in every conversation. And third, the history that lives in one place instead of scattered across hundreds of chats you can never find again. Here's the old way versus the new way. Old way: blank chat, paste a prompt, re-explain everything, hope, 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 hope. New way: open the project, the context is already loaded, you ask for the deliverable, and it comes back in your voice on your template using your source material. And not only that, but once you finish editing that little project, which hopefully is much quicker, then you download it as a doc or in text, and then you put it back into the project knowledge and you tell Claude to learn from it. And here's why this matters now in 2026. The models have gotten good enough that the clever prompts stop being the edge. The structure around the task is the edge now. The role you set, the examples you give, the constraints you write down, what you're feeding in it for to have it read. The structure has a name. It's called context engineering, and a Claude project is the easiest place for a non-developer to build it. I know because I have a bunch of them. I have a bunch of custom GPTs also. You're not learning to code, you're writing a brief and you're uploading new files. If you've ever onboarded a freelancer or a new hire, you already know how to do this. The key players. Let's talk about who does this and how they compare. First, Claude projects from Anthropic. This is the one we're focused on, and there's a reason. In 2026, practitioner testing rates Claude inside a well-configured project as the best writing quality on any AI platform. Better at following nuanced style instructions, more consistent across a long document. For anything text-heavy, articles, reports, email sequence, SOPs, it reads less like a machine wrote it. Projects are available on every plan, including free. Free users get up to 5 projects. Claude Pro runs $20 a month. Claude Team runs $30 per user per month. And never recommend using free. Spend the $20, please. And there's a quiet feature that matters. On paid plans, when your uploaded knowledge starts to fill the context window, Claude automatically expands its capacity by up to 10 times and keeps the response quality. So you can load real source material, not just a couple of pages. Second tool, ChatGPT projects from OpenAI. OpenAI shipped its own version. You build a knowledge base of documents, and your chats inside that project answer from those documents, which cuts down on made-up answers or hallucinations. OpenAI's custom GPTs are the stronger build-a-tool for other people platform, live data connections, image, and code generation in one place. Here's the honest split. For written client work and research, Claude Projects is the better built workspace. For building an AI tool you can hand to other people, or when you need live data, custom GPTs win. Pick the job, then pick the tool. Third, Claude for work, the team, and enterprise tiers. This is the one agency owners should hear. On team and enterprise, you can share a project with permission controls. Who can use it, who can edit it, private or shared across the whole organization. That's the difference between a clever setup that lives in one person's head and a shared asset your whole team runs. But we'll come back to that. Here are the numbers that matter. 6 numbers. Each one gets a so what. Number 1, 85% of employees now save between 1 and 7 hours a week using AI. That's from a Workday survey of 3,200 business leaders. So what? The hours are real and they're already on the table. The only question left is whether you keep them with good structure. Number 2, from that same research, nearly 40% of the time saved is lost again to rework and corrections. So what? Well, this is the whole game. The tool gives you the hours. Sloppy use hands most of them right back. The setup is what protects the game. Number 3, 75% of AI's economic gains go roughly to 20% of companies. That's from PricewaterhouseCoopers. So what? Everyone got the same models. The winners pulled ahead on how they use them, not which ones they bought. You can be in that 20% on purpose. Number 4, Anthropic, who now serves over 300,000 business customers, and more than 500 of them spend $1 million a year. 8 of the Fortune 10 are Claude customers. So what? Well, this is not a side experiment anymore. The biggest, most careful companies on earth standardized on it. Projects are how their teams keep work consistent. Number 5, in May 2026, Ramp AI Index, Claude leads US business adoption at 34%, just ahead of Chat at 32%. Anthropic roughly quadrupled its business adoption share in 1 year. So what? Well, the center of gravity for serious business work is shifting. If your team isn't fluent in this workspace, your training on the platform the market is leaving behind. Number 6, Stanford and BetterUp found 40% of US workers got handed work slop in a single month. Polished AI output that's substantively weak. So what? This is what unstructured AI produces. Good looking, hollow, and someone downstream has to fix it. A project with real instructions and real examples is the cure. Here's my hot take. The tool is not the boss. A cloud project will not save you a single hour by itself. A cloud project will not save you a single hour by itself. The project isn't magic. An empty project, no instructions, no examples. It's just a tidier way to get the same generic output everybody else gets. The data says it plain. 85% of workers save hours. 40% of those hours leak back. 75% of those gains land with 20% of the companies. Same models for everyone. The gap is not the AI. The gap is discipline. The winners decided in advance 2 things: what the workspace should know and what the saved time is actually for. Most people will skip both. They'll spend 20 minutes setting up a project, never write the custom instructions, dump 5 random files in, and conclude AI is overrated. The setup is the easy part. The setup is 20 minutes. The thinking, who Claude should be, what voice, what constraints, what you'll do with the time you get back. That's the real work. That's the part that pays. So here's the line I want you to keep. The model is a commodity. Your setup is your moat. If you and your biggest competitor both have Claude, the only thing that separates you is what you built around it. So go build it on purpose. Here's the marketer's angle. Let's bring this home to your department. The shift is this: stop treating AI like a slot machine. Open a blank chat, paste a prompt, pull the lever, and hope, 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 hope. Hope is not a method. Start treating it like a workspace you configure once and reuse. Here's what changes in practice. First, build a project per deliverable, not per question. Proposals, client research, the weekly report, first draft, ad copy, and a brand voice. Each one becomes its own workspace with its own instructions and its own files. You're not prompting from scratch. You're running a station you already set up. And here's the secret: that you're actually setting the stage for what your agents are going to do once you start getting this all built up as a foundation. The next phase is agentification. Ooh. Second, upload your voice and your best examples. This is the highest payoff move here. Almost nobody does it. The model copies what it can see. Give it your brand voice guide and 2 or 3 pieces of work you're genuinely proud of, and the output stops sounding like a robot and starts sounding like you. Third, and this is for the agency owners, a shared permission project per client is a moat. The brand voice, the do not do list, the past campaigns, all of it stops living in one account manager's head and one person's chat history. It becomes an asset the agency owns. When someone leaves, the workspace stays. Fourth, the bottleneck moves. It used to be writing the prompt. Now it's deciding what the saved time is for. The marketers who win are the ones who answered that before they ever opened the tool. More strategy, better client conversations, not just more drafts nobody asked for. And the last piece, put a human gate on every output before it ships. 40% of workers got handed work slop last month. Don't be the source of it. The project gets you a strong first draft. Your judgment is what makes it shippable. The part that cannot be automated is the human in the loop. You got to make sure that you keep that in each part of the process. Here's your one good project playbook. 7 steps. Start this week. Step 1, pick one recurring task. Look at last month, which writing or research job ate the most senior hours and kept repeating. Proposals, client research, weekly reports, first draft copy. Pick the one with the biggest gap between hours spent and judgment required. That's your first project. Create the project. Go to Claude AI /projects. Create new projects. Give it a name. One note, the name and description are just for you. Claude doesn't use them as context, so don't waste your instructions there. Write the custom instructions. Click Set Project Instructions. Define the role, the audience, the tone, the format you want back. Start with constraints, what it should never do, then what it should do. Keep it tight, few hundred words, and then save it. Step 4, load the knowledge base. Click the plus on the project knowledge panel. Upload your brand voice guide, a couple of examples of good work, your template or skeleton, and reference docs. I keep a folder of fundamental reference docs, which includes brand voice, the soul of my company, exclusion words, URLs to pay attention to. Remember the rule. If it's not in the knowledge base, it's not shared across your chats. Step 5, decide what the time save is for in advance. Write it down. The 3 hours of saves go to client strategy, not more drafts. This is the one step that separates the 20% who keep the gains from the 80% who lose them. Don't skip this. Run it and then check it. Generate a draft, hold it against the brief, where it missed, fix the instructions, not just the draft. The projects get sharper every time you correct the setup instead of the output. And never ship unchecked. Your gate is the job. And again, taking the finished edited product, pasting it right back into that same project and saying, review this and tell me what you learned and integrate it into your knowledge base. And that way, that project is self-learning. Then write it down as an SOP and then build project number 2. Once the loop works, document it, the trigger, the instructions, the file, the quality gate on team or enterprise. Share the project with permissions so a teammate can run it too. Only then do you add the next one. The one line to remember, the setup is 20 minutes. Deciding what it should know and what the time is for is the actual work. If today lit something up, here's the move this week. Pick one recurring task that wasted a senior morning last month. Build one Claude project for it. Write the instructions. Upload your voice and best examples. And before you trust a word of the output, decide what the hours saved are for. Then write the whole thing down as a SOP so your team can run it without you. The last part, turning a one-time setup into a repeatable system, is exactly what my book, Human AI Hybrid, is about. How real people and real teams put AI to work without losing the human judgment that makes the work good. You can find it with my other marketing books at emmanuelrose.com. Go ahead and go take a look. And if you've got a question you want answered on the show, drop it in on my LinkedIn post for this episode. I read every one, and the best ones get featured in a future episode. Until then, the model is a commodity. Your setup is the moat. So go build a project on purpose. I'm Emmanuel Rose. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.